Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gadget Garage. Today I am out here on the Ausom DT2 Pro dual motor electric scooter. We're going to go ahead and squeeze in a little bit of a night ride before this crazy storm system rolls in and brings us 3 days of rain here in the Phoenix metro area. But this here is going to be the fourth or fifth video that I've made on this scooter. Basically a continuation of the testing series that I've created. And if you want to check out any other one of those other videos, I will include a link in the description to those. So there you'll find our range test, hill climb test, extreme hill climb test. I've got a speed and acceleration test in there as well. So anyways, basically gonna look to answer all the questions you might have on this scooter with that video series. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull into here. And we are going to be cruising around the Tempe Town Lake area today. See what's going on around here, if it's busy or not. Hopefully not too busy. But if you've watched some of my other night rides, this is the scooter rental capital of Arizona. Lots and lots of rental scooters every time I'm out here. So we'll see if that's the case today. Lots of people out walking and running today. This is the time of year where things are starting to get a little bit cooler. Got some folks on e-bikes up ahead. You just got to watch out for the rental scooters because I almost ate it last time, or at least a couple times ago that I was out here. I almost had a head-on collision with a rental scooter rider, and that would have been awful. So glad I was able to avoid that, but you always got to be careful. Got some electric skateboards. All kinds of exciting stuff, but as you can see, I mean, there are a lot of folks out here today. All right, we got to get through this crowd. Reminds me of a scene out of that show, The Walking Dead, you know? That they're not walkers, they're runners. That's what I should be doing, actually. All right, we're gonna take a bit of a detour down here by the water, give you a nice little view of the Tempe Town Lake area. Then I'll show you what the lighting on this DT2 Pro looks like. Pretty sick if you ask me. All right folks, so as you can see, that's our Ausom DT2 Pro, and one of the things I really like about this scooter is that it's got ambient lighting. I think more scooters need to do this. You can see the blue lighting there along the sides of the deck, and then up front you can see the lighting up there on the stem. And then, of course, we've got our headlight. Now, that is not adjustable, but you can put an air tag in there, which is really nice. Unfortunately, they put the words air tag right there on the top, which is a little bit ridiculous. It kind of gives the whole thing away, so they should definitely stop doing that. Here at the rear, you've got tail light and brake light combo. So when you pull on those brake levers, that will get brighter for you. And then, of course, we've got turn signals. As you can see, there's our turn signal on the left. You've also got it on the right. Unfortunately, there's no turn signals up front, but there is a little light panel there on either side, which could be used as a turn signal. So awesome. If you're listening to this, it would be awesome if we can get some turn signals up front. But anyways, overall, really like the lighting on this scooter. I always say it's not just a matter of you being able to see what's ahead of you when riding around at night, but it's equally important for other people to see you as well. You know, that way you don't run into any kind of accidents or anything like that because somebody didn't see you. But anyways, that's the quick view of the DT2 Pro. And this here is the Tempe Town Lake area. And this place is always beautiful to come over to at night because they've got all the bridges lit up, and then you've got these beautiful buildings along the shoreline here. And they're building a bunch more way up ahead. And so definitely more of a vertical city than you see in most places here in the Phoenix metro area. All right, so we are off to the races again. We'll get onto the other side of the lake, and hopefully things will be a little less crowded over there. On the other side of the lake, we'll have a little hill climb area. We got 12% grade, which is nothing crazy, especially if you've seen some of my other hill climb videos with this scooter, but always a nice little test for comparison. Back over the pedestrian bridge. As you can see, there's no one on the bridge right now. Big difference from when we first crossed this. You know, some nights I come out here, it's packed. Other nights, it's a ghost town, you know. It's kind of a luck of the draw, you know. They have an events website for the city of Tempe, but they don't always have all the events on there. So anyways, I'm happy to see people out and about. Most of the summer riding around on scooters, you really don't see a whole lot of people because they're inside shielding from the heat. All right, so right now I'm cruising around in sport mode, and this particular scooter does have 3 separate ride modes. It's got eco, sport, and race. Race being the quickest one and the one that's most likely to get you up to that 42-mile-an-hour top speed for this scooter, at least on paper. Another nice thing is you can go into the advanced settings or P settings menu and adjust the acceleration strength. So you can set it anywhere from 1 to 5, with 1 being the weakest, most mellow amount of acceleration and 5 being the strongest amount of acceleration. Out of the box, it comes at level 3. Me personally, I like to cruise around in level 2, which is what we're riding around on right now. It's the least twitchy. If you set it to level 5, you pull on that throttle a little bit, you'll be spinning your tires out. And so that's more of an aggressive ride mode, something that you'd want to be riding in if you're going to be going up particularly steep hills, or you're looking to get a quick start off the line. As I was mentioning at the beginning, this DT2 Pro is a dual motor scooter, so it's got dual 1100 nominal watt motors, both of which combined can crank out just over 2,900 peak watts of power. So that's going to be more than enough power for what most people are ever going to need on a scooter like this. One of the things I like about riding in this area is that they've got this really nice bike path that goes along the entire shoreline of this little lake that they've got out here, and there's a lot of kind of up and down areas here, so a lot more exciting than the typical grid system that I'm used to riding around here in the Phoenix metro area. Towards the end of this path, we'll have some hard packed dirt, give us a good opportunity to test out the suspension. This scooter does have coil spring suspension, so it's the same suspension setup that you see on the Ausom L2 Max dual motor, which is another scooter I featured on this channel. And I really do like that suspension setup, especially for these more budget-friendly scooters. Normally in this price range, at least historically speaking, you'd have pretty basic, nothing to write home about suspension. And with this, it's got really nice, quiet suspension that does a good job of, absorbing a lot of the lumps and bumps in the road. It's also got rubber damping, and that's going to be really important for making sure that the ride is nice and quiet. That's one thing that drives me up the wall, is suspension on scooters that knocks around. I don't like to hear metal on metal contact, so very happy with the setup. And they have a similar setup on the Ausom L1 as well, and basically across the entire L1, L2, and DT2 Pro lineup. All right, so this is going to be our 12% grade. I'm going to go ahead and pull over here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is go into the P settings menu. So I'm going to hit the plus and minus button, and I'm going to toggle over to P12, and we're going to set this to 5. Then we're going to hit the plus and minus button to save. That's going to give us the best, amount of acceleration and torque. And we're going to do this little 12% hill climb from a stop. So we're going to go ahead and do that in 3. And I'm going to go ahead and put us in race mode as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, definitely spinning out the tires, and we're accelerating up. Boom, made it up. No problem at all. And so that's what I love about this scooter. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, that's at level 5 there. Very, very touchy. That's right, I like to ride around in level 2, but just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and put this into level 1 and see how that hill climb does. So I'm going to go back into that P12, I'm going to dial it down to 1, and we're going to save. And just for fun, we're going to put the scooter, we'll keep it in race. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. A lot more mellow, no tire spinning, but we're still picking up speed, and there we go. So very nice and comfortable, even in P1. P1 just going to take you a little bit longer to get up to speed, but it's a heck of a lot less twitchy. If you've been following my channel for a while, I've covered, I think this is my 6th Ausom scooter. First one I did was the original Ausom Gallop, which is to this day one of my favorite all-time scooters. I covered the Ausom Leopard, the original one, that comes with a seat. The Ausom DT2 Pro, the L2 Max dual motor, the L1, and now the DT2 Pro. And I'm happy to see that they've consistently been able to maintain the quality of their scooters. And this latest lineup with the L1, L2, and DT2 Pro is fantastic. You know, they use basically the same formula across that entire lineup. And so that makes for a tremendous amount of power for a really good price. You know, I think the DT2 Pro right now retails for like $1,199. And for that you get, you know, a right around 40-mile-an-hour scooter that gets excellent range, has beautiful lighting, and has got 2,900 watts of power. I mean, that's fantastic. Now, a question that a lot of folks have asked me in some other videos is whether or not this scooter needs a steering damper. Well, I'll tell you right now, based on my testing so far, I don't think it needs one. Now, it wouldn't hurt to have a steering damper, of course. You know, the more safety measures, the better. But at no point during my testing have I thought to myself, oh man, I wish this thing had a steering damper. It's got really good geometry out of the box, and it's got a very stable ride. And that's really important for me, because that's the last thing I want to have to worry about is, you know, speed wobbles, or death wobbles as they're more commonly known as. And with that being said, you know, this scooter doesn't have any kind of pre-drilled holes to attach a steering damper. So if you were to try and attach one, you'd have to come up with a creative way to get it you know, mounted onto the scooter. Well, I don't know if you saw that on the camera, but we got a good amount of lightning up ahead. And it looks like we've got a car on the trail. That's unusual. Oh, you know what? I mean, that wasn't a car. That was two people on e-bikes. I should have stopped and said, what kind of headlight are you using? Those were intense headlights. I literally thought that was a car up ahead. I was deeply confused. False alarm. That's just a really good headlight setup. This tunnel at the end of it has got washboard surface, which always gives me crazy vibrations through the handlebars on a variety of scooters that I test. We'll see how this is. There's that washboard surface. I can feel some of it coming through, but this suspension's doing an exceptional job of eating that up. Definitely significantly better than the Ninebot Max G3 that I tested in there. That there, you know, you develop some pretty intense vibrations in the handlebar on that scooter, which is weird because every other surface that I ride it on, it's beautiful, except that kind of washboard surface. And as you can see, as we pick up the pace here, it's a very stable scooter. You know, I don't have the throttle all the way in because we're just cruising tonight, but if you want to check out, you know, top speed and acceleration and the results that I was able to get, I will include that link in the description. All right, so we are zooming through this parking lot right now. Definitely want to watch out for these curbs. That would be a pretty awful surprise there. We'll go ahead and head on through this tunnel again. This is that washboard surface. Yeah, solid. Does a good job going through that. I'm going to start heading back to our starting point because we do have some storm clouds rolling on through. If we were to find ourselves in a situation where it starts raining, this scooter does have an IP54 water resistance rating, so definitely not the highest out there, which means it can withstand splashes of water. It protects against water ingress from splashing. So, you know, light, very light rain, riding through some puddles, you should be good to go. But if you're going to be riding around in, you know, more wet conditions, which generally speaking I don't recommend riding scooters in the rain, but if that's what you're going to do, I definitely recommend looking at a scooter with a higher water resistance rating, closer to, you know, IPX6 or 7. You know, that's going to provide the best amount of protection. But if you do, you know, find yourself in some light rain or riding through some small puddles, this does have some degree of protection. So several folks in the past have asked whether or not this scooter is a better deal than the Ninebot Max G3, and that's a fantastic question because both of these scooters are priced at the same price point. But here's my thoughts on that topic. Number one, this is a much heavier and larger scooter, so it's not going to be as portable. So if you're going to be lugging the scooter up and down stairs, stuff like that, it's going to be much easier to do with the Ninebot Max G3. Number two, water resistance rating. Like I said, the scooter IP54, the Ninebot Max G3, is IPX6. So that is significantly higher in orders of magnitude protection against water. The third thing I want to mention is that this Ausom DT2 Pro is well suited to ride both on and off the beaten path, whereas the Ninebot Max G3 is more of a city commuter scooter. I mean, that scooter doesn't even have a kick plate, you know. It's really designed for kind of flat-footed riding in city conditions. You know, if they had a kick plate, I might change my mind on that, but they don't. So, you know, it's more suited for nice, calm, relaxed riding. It does a beautiful job at that. Another thing to mention is this is a dual motor scooter, and it does climb hills significantly better than that Ninebot Max G3, especially steep hills. So from a performance and range perspective, this blows the Ninebot Max G3 out of the water. 100%, it's not even a comparison. But when it comes to some of the tech features, the portability and water resistance, the Ninebot Max G3 has the edge. So it's really going to just depend on what you're looking for in a scooter. If it's going to be portability, great. The Ninebot Max G3, the VMAX VX2 Hub, the Apollo Go, those are all excellent choices. But if you're looking for something a little more robust that you're going to be able to grow with, that is able to, you know, crank out significantly more performance, scooters like this Ausom DT2 Pro, as well as the lower priced L2 Max dual motor are going to be great options as well. Both of those, you're not going to have any issues with any kind of hills that you come across. They both provide a tremendous amount of power for the money. One of the other differences is that this scooter here has hydraulic brakes, and hydraulic brakes are going to give you significantly more stopping power with less effort. So here's a quick demonstration of these hydraulic disc brakes in 3, 2, 1, go. Plenty of stopping power. And that's not even with me, you know, pulling those brake levers all the way. If I did that, we would lose traction, you know. So brakes on this scooter are absolutely solid. Here's another little stop. Boom. Definitely recommend leaning your weight back, because one of the most common accidents on these scooters is people going over the handlebars. So if you are going to have to stop quickly, get that weight back. Don't do it standing up. You will go over the handlebars. And, you know, now that I mentioned that, you know, if you are going to be riding these scooters, I do recommend, especially with higher performance scooters, to wear full gear. You know, right now I'm wearing my full face Scorpion helmet. It's not the cheapest helmet out there. I think it's like $500, but they've got other ones. You know, the O'Neill Sierra 2 is one that I started out with. That's a fantastic helmet. You know, I think that's priced around $150 or something. But get yourself a good full face helmet. Get yourself, you know, some gloves, preferably with wrist protection. Get yourself some kind of body armor. I've got Fox Racing body armor that I'm wearing right now. And then some knee pads. Now, ideally, you'd have like knee pads that are built into some kind of pant. Because these strap-on knee pads are great, but when you fall and you hit those legs on the ground, those knee pads can rip right off. So you just want to watch out for that. But I'm currently wearing the knee pads. You know, you can probably see it in the footage, but the headlight is doing a decent job of illuminating the path ahead. Definitely not something to write home about, but it gets the job done. Like I said, there are a ton of different like handlebar mounted lighting options if you want, you know, to cast a beam further ahead or, you know, more to the sides. You can definitely do that. All right, folks, we are nearing the end of our ride. I'm going to go ahead and drive up this ramp here, and we'll take the streets back to the parking garage. All right, coast is clear. This will take us right back to that parking garage, and we'll do a quick recap of our ride tonight. All right, just always want to make sure that the cars see you riding. Definitely don't want to ride into the side of a pickup truck, that's for sure. But anyways, as you can see, we're cruising around right around 30 miles an hour or so. And this is very comfortable. Absolutely, we can drive faster than this, but this is a nice, comfortable riding pace. You know, nothing too crazy. Go ahead and lean into this turn. And full throttle ahead. Now watch out for the cars out here. Up and over the train tracks. And here's the parking garage, folks. You know, nice little hill climb test as these parking structures. As you can see, I mean, we're cruising right up. This is not a problem. This is really mellow stuff. All right, folks, so there you have it. That was our nice little night ride with the Ausom DT2 Pro. And as you can see, very versatile, very comfortable scooter to ride around on. For today's ride, we did about 15.2 miles and we still got 4 out of 5 battery bars remaining. And on this particular ride, you know, we had an average moving speed of 17.8 miles an hour, and we had a top speed of 31.2, which is a nice, comfortable cruising speed for me. Of course, this scooter can get up to 42 miles an hour on paper, but that wasn't the point of today's ride. Overall, very happy with this so far. Like I said, we are coming close to the end of our testing series on this, so I will be posting that comprehensive end-to-end review here in the coming weeks. But yeah, if you want to pick one of these up, I will include an affiliate link as well as any available coupons in the description below. And if you use that to make your purchase, it absolutely helps support this channel, keeps the wheels moving on future reviews. As always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.